rise in petrol and diesel prices has definitely irked the citizens. India wants to adopt the same system which is at play in international markets. Countries like UAE, Australia and America fluctuate their diesel and petrol prices every single day.
Mumbai as a cost is going day by day high, no?
तकलीफ तो बहुत है लेकिन सुनेगा कौन? जनता का कोई सुनता है क्या?
Because our class people, middle class people, we can't afford so much prices.
अब टैक्सेस भरने से क्या आदमी को इतना तो महंगाई से ज़्यादा टैक्स है ना, तो इसके लिए बहुत फर्क पड़ता है.
And also they keep fluctuating the prices.
तो भी अभी मुझे सुनना है कि पेट्रोल का प्राइस दिन ब दिन बढ़ते जा रहा है, एक हफ्ते में, एक मंथली में, महीने में.
You're watching the Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I'm Fides Souza. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about petrol prices this evening. As you can see, the diesel prices have been hiked by 44 rupees a paise. Petrol has been hiked by 1 paisa. But while that might seem like a small amount or a small hike to you right now, there is a graphic that I want to put up on your screen. I want you to take a look at these numbers. In 2014, there you have it on your screen, crude oil price, which is the raw commodity that we import, and that is the basis on which we base our petrol prices. Crude was priced as $110 per barrel, and on an average we were paying 77 rupees per litre for petrol when crude was priced at 110 rupees. Let's take a look at where crude is priced right now. It is $49 per barrel. And what are we paying on petrol? We are paying 77 rupees on petrol. Where is the justification for the fact that crude has come down more than 50%? So the price is down by more than half. It's actually at the bottom. It is the lowest we've seen in a while. Crude is down more than 50% and we are still paying the same amount of money for petrol. Why has there been no change in the petrol prices? I'll tell you why. Because when we import petrol into the country per litre, the raw material costs about 12.5 rupees. After it's refined and it arrives at the oil marketing companies, which is the petrol pump where you buy your petrol from, it costs between 29 and 30 rupees. From 30 rupees to 77 rupees is all state and central taxes. Now, it varies a little bit in different cities. In Bangalore, you're paying about 72 rupees. In Delhi, we're paying 68 rupees. Pune is paying about 72, if I'm not mistaken. That's where everything is right now in terms of prices. Where is the rest of the money going? And where is the justification for both state and central governments to charge that kind of tax on petrol, which is an essential commodity? Can you choose tomorrow to stop using petrol? No, you can't. You will not be able to go to work. You will not be able to drop your children to school. You have to absolutely use petrol. The government is taking advantage of that situation, a situation created by inefficiency in the government. If there was public transport, you could choose to leave your car or your bike behind. But there isn't public transport in any of our cities. It's a situation the government is taking advantage of and charging us more than they should. The question is, why should I have to pay this much for petrol? Where is the justification? Please give me the calculation that you will use to arrive at petrol prices on a daily basis. And then give me an account of the money that you're taking from me as tax and where you're spending it. Because now as a paying customer, I am entitled to those accounts. Joining me on the show this evening, Sumanth C Raman, he's a political commentator. Ravi Shinde is the president of the Petrol Dealers Association. Ravi Srivastava is the ex-senior manager of HPCL, who's worked in the industry for a very long time. Vinit Goenka is the member of Industries, Shipping, Road, Transport and Highways and National BJP spokesperson, joining us from Delhi. Sanjay Jha, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Rajeev Mishra is an RTI activist. And Syed Asad Abbas is an IPL anchor coming in right now with the citizens' point of view. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm going to start with Ravi Srivastava. Ravi Srivastava, is there any justification to the kind of prices we are paying right now on petrol?
Absolutely not. This is a fraud. It's a daylight robbery by the government on the public of this nation. Let me tell you, the whole petrol pricing from the very beginning has been totally opaque. It's non-transparent. The government does not show where the actual money is going. They will have so many heads, they will show so many things, but fact is that they have never made their pricing transparent. And the fact is, entire UPA, 10 years even if you take, that average price of crude is half of that in last 3 years. Just see, you have shown your statistics, $110 a barrel. Even we have seen during 2008, the price had gone up to $148 a barrel, and even then the petrol was selling for only 52 rupees per litre. Now these guys have been profiteering. I tell you exactly, they are profiteering on a price of refinery transfer price of 29 rupees, which is a product which is available to the after the refinery margins and all that. They are adding 44 to 45 rupees taxes on that, which is nothing but squeezing the public to the maximum. It's totally unfair. The government has to be logical. The government has to give an account of every naya paisa, and the tokenism which they are showing now, that 1 paisa increase in petrol price and 44 paisa in diesel, they are trying to just show off the public that now we are very transparent. Everything is in public domain. It's a fraud. They are not giving the true picture to the public. Why they are taking 45 rupees per litre for no fault of mine? Another thing is that the price of fuel determines the inflation in the country. If you are charging more on diesel like this, the all transport, the logistics, that a common man is affected totally on pricing of this. The crop movement, the prices of commodities, the prices of merchandise, everything becomes expensive. So what is the logic of increasing
let me bring in
Sumanth
C Raman. He's a political commentator. Sumanth C Raman, this is, in my opinion, also completely unfair to tax an essential commodity more than its actual price. I mean, if the cost of the actual commodity is 30 rupees, to take it up to 77, 72, 73 rupees in most of our cities is completely unjustified. How is the government justifying these taxes?
Yeah. No, I agree with you that it's completely unjustified. So what would call that?
All right, we seem to have a problem with Sumanth's audio. We're going to get back to him. Let me take this to the to Vinit Goenka, who represents the central government here. Vinit Goenka, when the current government came into a campaign in 2014 and then won the elections by a landslide, one of the very key promises that were made was to bring down the prices of essential commodities, to make things affordable, to make things accessible, to put simply अच्छे दिन. कहाँ गए अच्छे दिन विनीत गोयनका? अगर हम 40 रुपए टैक्स में ले रहे पेट्रोल पे, तो अच्छे दिन हमारे कब आएंगे?
अच्छे दिन आए, इसीलिए तो ट्रांसपेरेंसी है, पारदर्शिता, ये ट्रांसपेरेंसी की निशानी है. वी आर ऑल फाइटिंग फॉर ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम probably that a government could take a bold decision of doing the fluctuation of the prices on the daily basis. The entire deficit pool, which was rationalized by the then Petroleum Minister Ram Naik for 15 days in a month, now we are rationalizing it to everyday affair. And just think about this, whatever is the fluctuation in the international market will be passed on to the consumer. And that is what is called as transparency as per me.
No, that is actually what is called eyewash, Mr. Vinit Goenka. I'll tell you why. Because if you decide that the actual price of the commodity is 30 rupees, 45 rupees are your taxes, and you fluctuate 1 paisa every day, that's not transparency, that is eyewash. How many people in India know that more than half of what we pay for petrol is taxes? How can you call that transparency? I'll tell you what will be transparency. Transparency will be when you tell me where that 45 rupees is going, who's using it. Tell me how many farmers you have managed to irrigate lands for, how many starving children you've managed to feed. Tell me how many jobs you've created. Then that will be transparency. एक नया पैसा का हिसाब दे दीजिए हमें कि हमारा टैक्स के जो पैसे आप कहाँ लेके जा रहे हैं और ये कहाँ पे खर्चे हो रहे हैं. That would be truly transparency.
Well, let me answer you point one by one. The cost includes the price of the fuel, also the taxes by the central government and the taxes by the state government. If you take tax like state like Karnataka, the tax levy, the heavy prices are there, so the taxes go up. Now, price policy is decided on the basis
the highest is Maharashtra, not Karnataka.
And there is a document on that. Everybody is having access to that, so there has to be a transparency.
Mr. Goenka, my question to you is that why should there be so high of the taxes? Can you explain one reason? See, as far as the earlier thing is concerned, it was a justification that since the kerosene prices are being subsidized or LPG prices are being subsidized with a higher price of the petrol. Now that thing is gone, you are increasing the kerosene prices every month by some 15 paisa or 17 paisa. You have made LPG almost on par because everybody is paying, given up the subsidy and all. So if there is no subsidy practically on LPG. Now what is the justification for charging this much of tax on it? Can you just respond to it, please?
Of course, I can do that. If you see, the subsidy has been given up by more than 1 crore people because they really don't want it. And that's that appreciable transparency part of our government. What we have done is we have asked people who don't want the subsidy to give it up. At the same time, there is a direct transfer. The direct transfer to the needy, which has been done. And you can just check out that how many thousand people, how many lakh people have been benefited by that. So there is a benefit which has been transferred to the real needy. जिसको जरूरत है उसको मिल रहा है, जिसको जरूरत नहीं वो छोड़ रहा है.
Mr. Goenka, what I'm saying is that the outflow from the government
Okay, see, while I appreciate, Vinit Goenka, while I appreciate the fact that you are saying that people, 1 crore people in our country have given up their LPG subsidy. The good thing about this is those of us who are paying full price for our LPG cylinders are subsidizing those who need it for cheaper. So then, why are we still charging this high amount of money on petrol? Because we used to charge it earlier to subsidize LPG. Now we are subsidizing each other. So where is this money going? I want to understand where this money is going. Ravi Shinde is the president of the Petrol Dealers Association. Ravi Shinde, we just heard the representative of the government say very clearly that there is a lot of transparency. There's the actual price of the commodity plus state and centre taxes. Let me point out also to our viewers that the highest tax levied on petrol is the state of Maharashtra for Mumbai and Pune. This is the highest tax levied. Mumbai and Pune pay the highest right now for petrol. Ravi Shinde, daylight robbery by our government on the middle class.
That too at the saying that we are transparent. I'll give you an example of today, 1st May. When the price was supposed to go down, we dealers were all ready for price reduction because the dollar had gone down and as well as the crude has gone below $50. And when the news came that the diesel has gone up by 44 paise, we couldn't believe that it is gone up. It's supposed to have come down. So we were inquiring whether there's a mistake in a government notification. This is the level of transparency we are talking about. I do not know where this money is going and who is responsible for accounting, and whether the general public is going to come to know one day that where these taxes, which are amounting to more than 50%, is going to state and central government. Another thing I do not understand, that is the reason why the petrol and diesel is kept out of GST, so that the transparency will kick in. And I feel that this money which is being collected is absolutely not correct, and there should be many more questions raised than they are today.
There should be questions raised. In fact, I want to bring in all of our voices right now. Sumanth C Raman joins us. I am told that the audio is better right now. Suman, go ahead.
I just want to make one point. I mean, if we are talking of administrative pricing mechanism having been dismantled, I'm afraid that that is not quite true, because clearly the administrative pricing mechanism continues with the government merely tweaking the excise duty on the petrol and diesel. Look, in 2014, the excise on diesel was 3 rupees 75 paise. Today it is more than 17 rupees, which means that the government has hiked it multiple times in the last 3 years just to prevent the prices from going down so that they could profit from the low oil prices. Same happens to the case of petrol. I think there's been a 15 rupees or thereabouts. From 6 or 7 rupees, it has gone up to 21 rupees.
Yes.
So, for both petrol and diesel, the administrative pricing mechanism it actually continues, though we pretend that there is no APM right now. Government is profiteering from it. This is going, all this money is going into that bottomless pit called the government revenue, and God only knows where it goes from there. But clearly, there is no justification for increasing the excise multiple times. Then why do you, there are only two input, the input cost is there and the dollar exchange rate is there. There are no other variables. But you hike the taxes 6 times in the last 3 years, and then you claim that you're letting the market forces be at play. How does it make sense? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Absolutely doesn't make sense. And in fact, let me take our viewers through this. Let me just take our viewers through this. Wherever you are in the country right now, the money you are paying on fuel, the petrol you put in your bike before you drop your children to school is completely unjustified. The government is robbing you. They are putting their hands in your pocket and taking out money that they have no entitlement to. They are not justifying it. They are not giving us a justification. When the fuel hits the petrol station, it costs 29 rupees. The operating charges or the commission for the petrol pump is 2.5 rupees per litre, which means that you should not be paying any more than 32 rupees or 31 rupees and 50 paise. On top of that, 21.48 rupees is central excise duty going to the central government. There's octroi, there's transport, there's state VAT of about 22.6. There is a commission. Then there is the retail price. Delhi pays 68 rupees. Mumbai pays 77 rupees. Cities in between are paying between 77 and 72 rupees. Where is the justification? I just want someone, anyone on this panel, to tell me why it is okay for the government to rob me after I have already paid income tax, after I have already paid service tax, I have paid VAT, I have paid cess, I have paid Krishi Kalyan, I have paid Swachh Bharat cess, I've paid education, I've paid everything. On every service that I have taken up and every good, we've paid our taxes. Why is this tax so thick and so hefty? Sumanth C Raman, go ahead.
Yeah, no, my point is, I have no problem with the government marginally increasing the tax. But you don't make excise duty, which was 6 rupees a litre, as 21 rupees a litre.
Exactly.
You can make 6 rupees becomes 9 rupees or 10 rupees. That is a natural progression. You try to make some money for the government. There is no problem with that. But if you're going to say that whatever benefit comes to the citizen, I will raise the excise proportionately by that much so that nothing at all goes to the citizen, I think that is a crying shame. If diesel 3 rupees 75 paise can become 17 rupees, today if we had the same rates of central excise duty on petrol and diesel, petrol will cost 15 rupees less and diesel will cost 14 rupees less, period. Forget about the VAT, forget about the state taxes, forget about all the other costs. Actually, this one point alone has taken 15 rupees from petrol and 14 rupees on diesel.
And you know, we must ask this question, who uses petrol? Who uses petrol in our country? The urban middle class uses petrol in our country. They put it in their motorcycles. They use it. Right. They take their motorbikes to drop their children to school and then they go to work and then they come back from work. You have absolutely no right to benefit from someone who is using petrol to get through their day. You should be giving us public transport. Where is the public transport? Where are the better facilities that you promised us? How dare you profiteer from the fact that we are suffering from a lack of facilities? Rajeev Mishra.
जिस तरीके से सुमन जी ने आपके सामने एक्साइज टैक्स का एक छोटा सा उदाहरण देकर के समझाने का प्रयास किया कि किस तरीके से गवर्नमेंट की टेंडेंसी जो है क्रूड ऑयल का कम प्राइस होने के बावजूद उसने कैसे रेट को वही मेंटेन कर रखा है, वैसे ही मैं बता रहा हूं कि चूंकि गवर्नमेंट को यह पता है कि अब कुछ सजग लोग इन सब चीज़ों को बारीकियों से देखने लगे हैं और इस पर चर्चा चलने लगी है, तो गवर्नमेंट ने ट्रांसपेरेंसी की आड़ में जो ये पर डे प्राइस का जो इन लोगों ने डिफरेंसेस तय करना शुरू किया है, ये इसलिए किया है क्योंकि ट्रांसपेरेंसी की आड़ में ये अपनी चोरी को छिपा सकें और ये उनका ये प्रयास है। मैं आपको बता दूं फे कि मैंने एक छोटा सा एक कैलकुलेशन किया कि जो मुझे आंकड़े पता है 56,000 आउटलेट हैं इस पूरे कंट्री में जहां से पेट्रोल और डीजल की आपूर्ति होती है। ये 56,000 आउटलेट पर मैंने ये मान के चला कि 1,000 लीटर, सिर्फ 1,000 लीटर पेट्रोल और डीजल की अगर वहां बिक्री हो रही है तो उस पर मैंने 10 पैसे का जब कैलकुलेशन किया, सिर्फ 10 पैसे का, तो मुझे मालूम चला कि ये अमाउंट जो है साल में 20 करोड़ रुपया हो जाता है। मतलब अगर कोई 10 पैसे की हेरा फेरी सिर्फ करता है पेट्रोल और डीजल में, वो भी तब जबकि 1,000 लीटर मैं एक आउटलेट पर मैं ये मानता हूं कि वो बिक रहा है, तो 20 करोड़ रुपया होता है। ऐसे में आप स्वयं अनुमान कर सकती हैं कि ये जो पर डे का सिस्टम है, अब आप एक कॉमन मैन क्या सुबह उठ करके पेपर पढ़ेगा
और डिसाइड करेगा कि आज पैदल जाना है ऑफिस,
और फिर जाके वो पेट्रोल का आउटलेट चेक करेगा कि वहां पर क्या
राजीव मिश्रा, आप मुझे ये बताइए, अगर कॉमन मैन ने सुबह पेपर में पढ़ लिया या हमारे चैनल पे, हम अपने चैनल पे लगाते, तो आप क्या पैदल जाएंगे ऑफिस? आप पैदल जा पाएंगे ऑफिस?
यही तो है।
अभी ये सोचिए कि अभी 1 महीने में बारिश होने वाली है मुंबई में। मुंबई के रास्ते का हाल देखिए, आप पैदल जाएंगे बारिश में? ना हमारे पास ट्रेन है, ना हमारे पास बस है, ना हमारे पास कोई पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट है, तो आप कहां जाएंगे, कैसे जाएंगे? बाइक छोड़ के, गाड़ी छोड़ के आप जाएंगे कहां से?
फिर मैं एक और इंपॉर्टेंट बात आपको बताना चाहता हूं, जो आप बोल रही थी कि अर्बन मिडिल क्लास ज्यादातर पेट्रोल यूज करता है। अभी आप देखो, 4 व्हीलर में तो आपने सीएनजी की व्यवस्था कर दी है। 4 व्हीलर मींस रिच पीपल हो गए वो। अब जो 2 व्हीलर पे चलने वाले लोग हैं वो तो अभी भी पेट्रोल से ही चलेंगे, उनके लिए ना तो डीजल की व्यवस्था है ना सीएनजी की व्यवस्था है, उनको तो पेट्रोल से ही चलना है। तो सबसे ज्यादा मार जो है इसको झेलना पड़ रहा है वो लोअर मिडिल क्लास और मिडिल क्लास को झेलना पड़ रहा है।
एक गवर्नमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव यहाँ पर है मिस्टर गोयनका, इनसे मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं। शायद आपको याद होगा कि सरकार 1 रुपया पर लीटर के हिसाब से पेट्रोल पे रोड सेस वसूला करती थी। उसका हजारों करोड़ रुपया जो है वो सरकार के कॉफर्स में गया। उस पैसे का क्या हिसाब आज तक दिया गया? इज देयर एनी अकाउंट ऑफ दैट मनी? अनदर थिंग आई वांट टू आस्क you when you dismantled APM, administered price mechanism, you started MDPM, that was called market determined price mechanism. Instead that became minister determined price mechanism. Today minister tells tomorrow you rake this price, this is the price for tomorrow. Is there any independency for the oil marketing companies? Is there anything? Another thing, the dollar has strengthened by 4 rupees for 4 rupees in last 2 months. How much benefit has been passed on to the customer for that? That you are paying less for the crude now.
Vinit Goenka is still smiling at us. Vinit Goenka, here's my question. Let me add one question to that. The state of Maharashtra between 2015 and 16 collected 1,300 crore rupees in what they called a drought cess, which they placed on petrol prices. There are farmers still committing suicide in Maharashtra. Please tell me what happened to that 1,300 crore rupees that was collected as drought cess. What happened to the other cesses that you've collected on petrol in the past? If you're going to insist on taking money out of my pocket, I want an account, sir, of where that money is going.
Can I answer?
And,
go ahead.
The additional revenue, by the way, is in the region of 36% on diesel and 20% on petrol over the previous financial year. Now, I answer? It's not a business. I mean,
yeah. All right, Vinit Goenka, go ahead.
36% increase. There is a 40,000 crore additional revenue which has gone to the government.
40,000 crore rupees. Vinit Goenka, go ahead. Please tell us, 40,000 crore rupees, where did it go? I'd like an account, please.
Black hole of government fiscal deficit.
Yeah, let me answer. If I am allowed to answer, I'll certainly answer this. I would like to answer this. Can I, please?
Please go ahead. We're all listening.
Can I? Yeah. So for the pricing part, the pricing does not only include the purchase price, but the fluctuation of the international currencies. Number 2, there is a margin for the oil marketing companies. Number 3, there is a freight cost of transportation of the fuel also. And then there is a mechanism of taxation between the central and the state governments. Now the price is not been determined only purely because there is a consumption pattern, but there is supposed to be maintained the foreign exchange policy also. There is something called as balance of payment. You cannot allow your people to go on importing just because there is a price variation. You have to understand what is the impact on the macroeconomy. So that has to be understood by the esteemed panel who are sitting here. A. Number B is when the prices were skyrocketing and there was a deficit, it was paid by the other taxpayers. Now when the prices are been balanced, naturally some part will go to the pool which was already been created. Number 3, where the petrol prices go up, when the government subsidizes it, when the petrol prices goes down, it should be little bit where the government can benefit out of that as a revenue. Now who pays this revenue is the person who uses it. Why has it been done? Because this is a part of the mechanism of revenue. Taxes are part of the total procedure of collection of revenue by government.
Sir, you are
don't collect revenue, how do you do the welfare schemes?
Sir, you are misleading on the pricing altogether. There is no stabilizing fund. There is no stabilizing fund at all.
Sir, if you don't allow me to speak,
how much is that?
How can you increase the excise 3 times more? How can you increase it 300%?
Sir, any justification?
In fact, let me just bring in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party. Sanjay Jha, the Congress Party had the problem. The UPA government. One second. The UPA government had the problem of high crude oil prices that went up to at one point $140 a barrel. It is now at $49 a barrel. And of course, we have Vinit Goenka representing the current government saying right now, Sanjay Jha, that at that point, the money that went out of the government needs to now be brought back in again. What is your response?
So here only to understand, when the prices have been determined, there is a scheme where you collect revenues so that your entire budgetary provisions have been done. It is a transfer process. Wherever there is a revenue, whether
so why don't you collect the revenues from those people who are not paying income tax?
Faye, I've been listening to all the mumbo jumbo being spoken by the government representative.
Why do you say it's a market-determined price? It is a government-determined price.
Nothing but an attempt to
No, sir. Why do you say it is market-determined?
Now, I will only speak if I'm allowed to speak. Otherwise,
One second, gentlemen, everybody, one at a time. Sanjay Jha, go ahead. Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
Thanks, Faye. I mean, I will stop if I'm interrupted because I think we should have a very civilized debate. In short, let me tell you why this government is hoodwinking the people of India, and ultimately transparency has actually been fully compromised. Give you two examples. When the
I've lost that connection for some reason. Our connections are very, very slow today. I apologize to our viewers for that. Akbar Bhatti is on the phone line from Mumbai. Akbar, go ahead.
Yeah, please, ma'am, I want to ask one question to the concerned departments.
Yes.
When we are getting the basic commodity from 30 rupees exactly, and on that we are paying 140% taxes to state and central government, is this justified for a citizen of India, on how the middle class man will purchase a petrol and he will earn and he will go on? How can 140% taxation for the state and central government? It is really a loot.
It is a loop. Where is the justification? Absolutely. DeCosta is on the phone line from Mumbai. DeCosta, go ahead.
Justification.
All right. We seem to have lost DeCosta as well. We'll try and get that back. Rajeev Mishra, go ahead.
मैं गोयनका साहब को सुन रहा था, वो बार बार इंटरनेशनल मार्केट की बात करने लगते हैं और इन लोगों का तर्क भी बराबर ये रहता है कि इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के हिसाब से अगर जीडीपी गिरता है तो बोलते हैं कि भारत का भी जीडीपी गिर रहा है। अगर इंटरनेशनल मार्केट का बात पेट्रोल के प्राइस में भी कर रहे हैं। मुझे केवल गोयनका साहब ये बताएं कि जो एशिया के जितने भी कंट्री हैं, क्या आपके पास उनके प्राइस लिस्ट है कि एशियन कंट्रीज में, बाकी के कंट्रीज में पेट्रोल का क्या प्राइस है, डीजल का क्या प्राइस है, फिर आप उसके साथ तुलना करके हमको इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर प्रूफ कीजिए।
मिश्रा जी, मैं बताती हूँ ना, मेरे पास है, हमने रिसर्च किया है। पाकिस्तान पेज 43 rupees for a liter of fuel, श्रीलंका pays 50 rupees for a liter of fuel, Nepal pays 64 rupees, and Bangladesh pays 70. We seem to have here, for some reason, some sort of understanding on taxes with Bangladesh, not with Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all of which pay between 43 and 64 rupees. So if it is actually based on international prices, then that doesn't make any sense. I want to bring in Abbas here. Syed Abbas, representing the citizens, Syed, and you're from Bangalore. Cities like Bangalore, Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad, where people use a lot of two-wheelers because they can't afford cars. What impact do petrol prices have on these cities, Syed?
It is definitely having a huge impact, Faye. I want to tell you, while traveling to the studio today, there are so many vehicles on the road. Day by day, number of scooters, vehicles, auto rickshaws, to taxis, to the cabs, to also every single car. My family has about 2 cars and 2 vehicles. It is definitely taking the pinch. I think what the government is doing is they are looking what is the most necessity. Okay, petrol is a necessity, like water is a necessity. So therefore tax on petrol, because we citizens, Aam Aadmi, cannot do anything about it. We have to just bear the brunt. What else can we do about it? It's like there is enough for everybody's need, but there is not enough for everybody's greed. Government is getting greedy. The rich is becoming richer, poor is becoming poorer. We the middle class are getting hit left, right, center. And petrol is something, it is a need, it's a necessity. We cannot do without petrol, because from leaving the kids to the office, from the going to everywhere, commuting from one destination to the other, doing all the work needs petrol as much as we need water. Otherwise, without petrol we cannot do anything. So therefore, since they know it's a need, government is taking the liberty from us citizens to tax heavily. There is very rare that taxes come down on petrol. Petrol only price hike whenever we read in the papers or anywhere. Petrol is just the price is getting heavier, and we are taking the brunt. And trust me, my family itself pays about 30 to 40,000 just on all our vehicles. So imagine so many more Bangaloreans, which is 70 to 80% are working class. So therefore we take the hit on what? On our blood. The money we make out of blood, sweat, toil, tears is all going on the petrol. Such a chunk of our salaries the money we make is going on this. It is so difficult. As much as we need water, petrol. So I think it's very difficult.
But I have another question for
you don't get water for free either if you think that you're paying for petrol.
Another question for Mr.
I just want to point out one more issue.
Okay, one at a time.
One more issue with Mr. Goenka, please. That first of all, by raising this artificially very high price of petrol, you are tempting people to steal it as well. In UP alone, out of 6,300, 1,000 outlets have been sealed just yesterday and day before for stealing the petrol. They are putting some computer chips over there, stealing the product. Rajiv has told 56,000 retail outlets across the country. I think 10,000 are doing this kind of malpractice over there and making the fuel siphoned off from that, and they are making
Sumanth C Raman, go ahead. Sumanth C Raman, go ahead.
Faye, I need to leave. Before I leave, just one very important point. We spoke about this exchange rate fluctuation, right? Now, as if that is a very, very important part of this whole piece. Look, that applies only to the crude component, which is effectively 12 rupees 50 paise. So even if there is a huge fluctuation in the dollar exchange rate, it impacts only a very small, out of the 29 to 30 rupees cost, only the 12 rupees 50 paise. The rest of it, the refining component, the freight component, the commissions that are paid, all of that happens in Indian rupees. So you only have the crude component for which the dollar rate mechanism can even be blamed. So you have less of an excuse to say that it's all somebody else's fault, it's a global thing and all that kind of stuff. You are continuing the administrative pricing mechanism in full glory as you did earlier, except that there is no transparency and people have been given this kind of maya that as if that this is only being determined by the market. By repeatedly raising taxes, the government continues to exercise a complete vice-like control on prices in the country.
Sumanth C Raman, obviously in a country where we are constantly worried about inflation and that everything is worked on our inflation number, the fact that you say this administrative pricing right now is complete and utter hogwash, is the government cheating us, Sumanth C Raman?
It is, the government is taking us for a ride, a completely different ride, taking advantage
it's
of our rights and bearing us with so much.
You can't use the word cheating because technically the money is going into the government kitty. Can I finish, please? I finish, please? 1 second.
Go ahead.
The money is going into the government kitty, so therefore you cannot use the word cheating. What word we can use is the government is possibly exploiting the situation to its advantage. The citizens are being disadvantaged as a result of this. So to use the word cheating is wrong, but they are exploiting the citizens beyond what they should be doing in this situation.
All right, exploiting the situation, exploiting citizens, profiteering. Vinit Goenka, please respond. Why?
Sir, exploiting is also a form of cheating.
Can I comment?
Ms. Peya, I would like to speak for 2 minutes because if I get into... Yeah. Ms. Peya, can I speak for 2 minutes? Because what is happening is all the opinions have been sent. But if I have been allowed to answer, then I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Can the other gentlemen have little patience? Because I've been hearing it with a lot of patience. Okay. Number one, somebody raised the issue of what is the price in the other South Asia countries. Bangladesh, Pakistan. I would suggest please see their law and order also. Revenues are used for multiple purposes. That has been used also for using for the PDS of the poor people. It is not that you take out the money from petrol and take it home of the ministers. It has been used for the general budgets, right? So if you want to compare it with the other economies, please compare it with the rational economies which we like to become.
Which are these rational economies?
Name them. Economies which are failing states or terrorist states. So please do not compare that. Number one. Number two, let me complete now. I've been hearing it very patiently. So let me complete. Number two part, the pricing mechanism also has component of commissions for the marketing companies, also the dealers. Okay, number three part, when you pay out money as a foreign exchange, you have to be very well careful about that. Otherwise, you lose the entire country's kitty for that. Number four, when the upper class or the lower middle class pays it, I also pay because I come from the lower middle class. But at the same time, there is a deprived class which has to be maintained by the revenues of the government by giving subsidies and direct benefits to them, which has to be maintained like that. The entire, this is what my friend Sanjay was telling about, the 10 years of UPI has created such a big pool where we have to deficit that. And how do you do that? You do maintain that. If I bring down the cost right now and tomorrow the prices go up, how will you subsidize that? So you'll have to think very rationally about it. It's not about my money or your money.
Can you tell me that how much was the deficit? How much was the deficit on account of this?
No, I want to
so
first
we'll have to all welcome this particular thought. And I'm very bullish about it. You cannot boom it down.
First question. Vinit Goenka, I understand what you're saying. First point you made was very good. You said do not compare us to countries with poor law and order. Please tell me which countries can we compare us to?
I have a paper if a cameraman can focus on this. How much? 7335. What is the percentage of fuel import? We are importing fuel for all these decades. How do we are just 70% of the total produce total consumption has been imported. Do you really want our country to suffer?
No, I don't understand what you're saying. Vinit Goenka, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're saying. Your first point was do not compare us to countries that are unimpressive. Compare us to countries that are impressive. So tell me which are these countries you would like us to compare
what you're doing is
let us compare their
like parents compare us, with kids situation of below us. That's what you're doing.
Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
Not the countries below us.
Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
Faye, I have heard a lot of mumbo jumbo from the government representative, and I want to be a little explicit on your channel. This government has been hoodwinking the common people of India.
Mumbo jumbo.
Let me give you facts and figures.
It has been rational thought.
Around the time that it is in charge of the government, Mr. Goenka, kindly don't intervene and interrupt when somebody is speaking.
You cannot use words like mumbo jumbo, Fair.
Yeah, number one, the price of the
Correct,
price.
But you'll have to use right words. You'll have to use the right words.
Can I speak? Do I have your permission to speak, Mr. Goenka?
You do speak, but you speak right words, please.
No, I just want to hear a yes or no before I carry on.
No, gentlemen, please. I have asked Sanjay Jha to speak. I will request Mr. Goenka to listen. Let's not waste any time. Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
There's an anchor.
Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
Yep. So the price of Brent crude oil was around $110 a barrel. By 2016, in fact, the prices came down to close to $30 a barrel. That's a collapse of roughly 60 to 75% of crude oil price. Now ask anybody, I think your panelists, the viewers who are watching this program will tell you that the price of petrol or diesel, by the way, never went down at all. Because I'll give you the estimates. Roughly $40 billion, and I've done my arithmetical calculation before the program, the government earned rupees 233,000 crores extra because they taxed through the central excise duty and the states did their own number. The truth is, where did this entire revenue surplus go? Well, I'll tell you two things happened. Mr. Modi's government had the advantage of a lower subsidy. They had a benefit of lower inflation. It happens. Good luck to them. But the biggest, I think, the confidence trickster was that they kept telling the people of India, all of us, that the international crude oil price is being linked to the price that you are paying when you're going to purchase any gasoline from the petrol pump for your scooter or your car or your SUV. That, I think, is the ultimate treachery with the common man. And let me tell you, that is the exact problem that we have today. Somebody should ask this question of Mr. Goenka, who's given you this big spin that the 2,33,000 crores that the government got as an operating revenue surplus was spent on social expenditure, welfare, kind of measures or capital spending. Nobody knows, because the government has simply done one thing. It has saved its fiscal deficit and its current account deficit. End of day, the common man of India has benefited not at all. Therefore, my one last statement, when the government talks of transparency, they are doing nothing but giving you a lip service on that very fanciful term. Because if international crude oil prices are going to be linked to what you and I pay, then if the prices come down or the dollar depreciates or appreciates, it should impact you and me by a similar traction or near similar traction when we pay through our credit card or cash. That is not happening.
Sanjay Jha, let me just
taken away our
respond.
money.
Right, let me just one second, Sanjay.
By that logic, they have robbed Peter to pay Paul.
Rob Peter to pay Paul. Let me just give Mr. Goenka. Mr. Goenka, you asked about comparing the law and order situation in other countries, comparing the situation in other countries. Please allow me to compare. According to the Labour Bureau of India, 4.93 lakh jobs were created in 2014. That number dropped to 1.3 lakh jobs in 2015 across 8 sectors. There were 100 million young people seeking jobs in India every year, jobs we have not created for them. Let's look at other statistics. 12,602 farmers killed themselves in the year 2015, out of which 4,291 farmers were from the state of Maharashtra. Madhya Pradesh, 1,290 suicides of farmers. This goes on and on. The unemployment rate in India is appalling. Now, here, let's talk about more statistics. India has been ranked 97 among 118 countries in the Global Hunger Index. India is positioned as a serious hunger problem. We rank worse than other developing countries as far as hunger is concerned. 1 out of 3 children in India is stunted and malnourished. 1 out of 3 children in our country. 15% of our citizens are hungry and undernourished. The number of people who go to bed hungry in our country every night is shocking. In the city of Delhi, if we really want to talk about law and order, the city of Delhi that is actually run by the Home Ministry of India, every 4 hours there is a rape reported. What is the area of the city of Delhi to actually allow for a rape every 4 hours? There is a distress call by a woman who's facing crime against women in Delhi every 9 minutes. The data of heinous crime against women is shocking. Now don't give me excuses saying law and order is better in India. I will give you statistics. This is what we do every day. I will give you statistics on the kind of crime women are facing in this country on a daily basis. If you were going to take 100 rupees out of my pocket for every litre of petrol and guarantee me that when I leave the house in the morning, I will come home in one piece at night and I do not face rape on the streets of this country, I would pay you that money. You cannot give me that guarantee because you have not done your job. Now, Mr. Vinit Goenka, give me your justification.
Yeah, so let me tell that when you are comparing rates with other countries, I would compare it with Hong Kong, which is not less than $1.94 per litre. I would like to compare it with other countries which are making real progress. Okay, not with the countries like that. As far as the statistics of crime goes, please, you'll have to understand. What UPA did, it's a reflection of that, and we are trying to put in things properly.
No,
and you see the better
logo of UPA now. You have been here for 3 years. You have been here for 3 years now.
Please go back and see what is the MSME doing. What is the total employment?
Please don't break the bogey of UPA now. That's too late. You are 3 years old now.
Mr. Goenka, you have cheated the people of India. You have cheated the people of India. That's a sum and summary of exactly what your political behavior has been all about.
It's like comparing Zameen to Asman. You know, the population of India is, what, 10 times, 20 times more than Hong Kong? I think that's an unfair comparison.
I want to bring in some of our viewers right now. DeCosta is on the phone line from Mumbai. Mr. DeCosta, go ahead.
Hello. Can I speak?
Hello.
Can I speak?
Hello.
Mr. DeCosta, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello. Yes, you see that the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Vinit Goenka, was quoting about Hong Kong. You see, recently, in the month of end of December and January, I was in Singapore, and I've been to Singapore 2 years back also. I was happy to see that the cabbies in Singapore, they have reduced their fare, because when I spoke to him that how they have reduced the fare, they told me that the government has reduced the price of petrol over there because the government has to pay less for the crude oil and all that. So Singapore, he's saying to compare with Hong Kong. Let him compare this with Singapore and Malaysia. Even in Malaysia, it has gone down very much. The thing is that he's saying that this extra taxes have to be paid for other things and all that. But the government is already taking taxes by way of Swachh Bharat tax, CRIS tax, income tax, VAT, CAT, SAT, and whatnot. You know, then why the government should not pass on the benefit to the people when earlier I remember price of crude oil had gone up to $140. From there it had come down as low as $26,
And you know, the truth is we are constantly moving the goalpost here. When we compared the prices to the prices of neighboring countries, we were told also compare their law and order. When we compare their law and order, we are told let's look at Hong Kong. Let's look at Hong Kong's law and order. What kind of law and order situation do we have in Hong Kong? How many rapes, how many murders, how many heinous crimes in Hong Kong? If you really want to compare yourself to something that's not more than a city.
One of the top 5 countries which are corruption free. Hong Kong.
I think we need to own up here, Mr. Vinit Goenka, we need to own up to the fact that very little has been achieved. And all I'm asking you, I only have 2 points on this show which I had when we began the show. One is, do not tax me beyond what is justified. Point number 2, if you are going to insist on taxing me beyond what is justified, I want an account of the money. एक पैसा का हिसाब चाहिए मुझे. How many farmers did you save? How many children have been fed? How many people have actually got food? How many people have actually got shelter? How many houses did the government build? I have the numbers, Mr. Vinit Goenka. Do you have the numbers? Do you have the numbers? How many schools have you built? How many people have been saved? Why are people still hungry? Why are farmers still committing suicide? Where are the jobs? Achhe din, Mr. Vinit Goenka. Achhe din. Kab aayenge?
बिल्कुल आ गए. अच्छे दिन नहीं आते तो हम ये नहीं करते. संजय झा जी ने जो मैथमेटिक्स आज किया, अगर 10 साल तक किया होता ना तो आज उनको अपोजिशन में बैठने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. अच्छे दिन आए इसलिए.
पॉलिटिक्स मत खेलिए मेरे शो पे, मिस्टर विनीत गोएंका. We don't do politics. We don't do politics on this channel. I asked you a very clear question. I want an account for the 40,000 crore rupees that the government made off my petrol bill.
सलामत है लेकिन आम आदमी की तरह, एक कॉमन मैन की तरह.
Let me Rajeev, I'll come to you. No, I'm going to give, no, 1 minute. Abbas, I'm going to give Mr. Vinit Goenka a clear 2 minutes. He's asked for it several times. Mr. Goenka, I just have a couple of conditions before you start your answer. Condition number 1, we do not track politics on this channel, and quite frankly, I am not interested in which party is in power. All I care about is that you are the government of the day, and I will ask you questions as a tax-paying citizen. I have paid my taxes, I have voted. You are now in power. Please give me a hisab for the 40,000 crore rupees that the government has collected from my fuel bill. Tell me where the money has gone and how many people have been fed. That is my question. Don't give me the politics. I don't care about anything else. I want an account. That's all.
So he listened to it. The accounts of all the revenues, forget about only this oil, but any other accounts, has been present in front of the budget. When the parliament has been in the house, we have provided everything. And in case you want to see
revenue,
that,
not expense.
Don't have any answer, Mr. Goenka, please.
It's been transparently been given.
Budget is a black hole. Your fiscal deficit is a black hole.
No, see, the budget actually gives us the allocation. It doesn't give us the actual usage of the money.
These are very generic. No. I think you do not have a patience to even hear.
No, I'm listening.
What is happening is, when I'm trying to give an answer, you're trying to overpower this.
2 clear minutes starting now. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Goenka. Let me just point out to our viewers that the budget document is a document of income that's come in and allocations that have made, not of actual usage of money.
By making a point, you don't actually impress me. Neither the other audience also. We are giving that. So allow me to speak that. So you have to go through what all expenses have been done by the government. It's been transparently put on all the sites. Does it mean that the 40,000 been collected here is been spent on particular X thing? It's a part of revenue scheme. And every revenue scheme has been spent as per the budgetary provisions. See how many kilometers of road has been built, what has been done on the railways, what has been done on the education system, what has been done on the other schemes. Please pay attention to that. So when we say that what is the hisab of 40,000 crore rupees, we'll have to understand how many kilometers of road has been built, what has been done to the ports, what has been done to the railways, how penetration of the IT has been done. See, we had only 150 crore rupees on cashless transaction. We are moving to 400 crore rupees in petrol pump. Understand all this kind of thing. This is a wholesome produce, right? And the co-panelist, if he's trying to point out that there is everything going wrong, let me bring to their attention. This is a thoughtful consultative committee which decided what to do, right? There are people who think about this. And that's why they have done in the 5 districts. Why they have done only in 5 cities? Because they will have to understand the impact. Once the impact analysis is done, then they will come out whether it should be spread out to the other part of the countries or not. For God's sake, just do not impress people with good vocabularies. Understand the cynicism of the thing, please. I'm requesting with the folded hand. Look at the poor people, look at the Antodaya, look at the last man who is going to be benefited out of this, please.
Excellent answer, Vinit Goenka. Your 2 minutes, in fact, you overshot your 2 minutes. Thank you for that answer. Rajeev Mishra, let's look at the poor people. Let's look at those who don't have jobs. Let's look at our hunger index. Let's look at how many people and where we stand right now. India's global hunger index score is 28.5, Rajeev Mishra. Worse than Nepal, Myanmar, Sri Lanka and...
What was there in the UPA time?
Go ahead.
मैं 2-3 बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बातों पर आपको लाना चाहता हूं कि ये जो सरकार आई थी, ये सरकार 3 महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दों पर आई थी। एक तो था कि महंगाई को नियंत्रित करेगी, दूसरा था भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त भारत करेगी, और तीसरा था कि काले धन को बाहर से देश में लाएगी। ये 3 मुद्दों पर इस सरकार का चयन यहाँ की जनता ने किया था, देश की जनता ने किया था। आज ये तीनों मुद्दों पर ये लोग बात करना नहीं चाहते। फिर मैं आपको एक छोटा सा उदाहरण एम्प्लॉयमेंट को लेके देता हूं, जिस पर आप अभी चल रही थी चर्चा। आपको मैं बता दूं कि अगर ओवरसीज एम्प्लॉयमेंट आप बंद कर दो आज, तो मैं बोलता हूं भारत में क्या स्थिति होगी आप उसका आकलन नहीं कर सकती। आप ओवरसीज एम्प्लॉयमेंट आप देख लो, आपके देश के कितने नौजवान अपने गांव को छोड़कर, अपने देश को छोड़कर, अपने शहर को छोड़कर के विदेशों में नौकरी कर रहे हैं, और लेबर से लेकर के टेक्निकल हैंड तक आज उनका एम्प्लॉयमेंट का परसेंटेज क्या है। आज पूरे देश में एम्प्लॉयमेंट की स्थिति दिनों दिन घटती जा रही है। आप गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में चले जाओ, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में एम्प्लॉयमेंट घट रहा है, प्राइवेट सेक्टर में एम्प्लॉयमेंट घट रहा है, चारों तरफ आपको मैं बता रहा हूं एम्प्लॉयमेंट में मार पड़ रही है। देश के युवा को इसका बात का पता आज के 5-6 साल बाद पता चलेगा, जब अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जो है बेहद मात्रा में बढ़ जाएगा। दूसरा कि आप मेरे टैक्स को लेते हो, मैं तो बार बार बोलता हूं, आप मुझे मेरा शर्ट लेना चाहते हो ना, मेरा शर्ट ले लो, लेकिन मुझे दिखाओ कि ये शर्ट से आपने किसी नंगे का बदन ढका है, ये मुझे दिखाओ ना। आपको मैं शर्ट देने को तैयार हूं अपना, लेकिन मेरा ये शर्ट किसी नंगे के बदन को ढकने के काम आना चाहिए। आपके अय्यासी के लिए मैं पैसा देने के लिए नहीं बैठा। आप गवर्नमेंट में बैठ करके अय्यासी करो, भ्रष्टाचार करो, मैं इसके लिए नहीं आपको पैसा देने जा रहा हूं। आपको मेरा जो चाहिए ले लो, मेरा ब्लड देने को तैयार हूं, लेकिन वो देश के हित में होना चाहिए।
देश के हित में।
राजीव मिश्रा, एक मिनट मुझे भी चाहिए। अभी गोयनका जी बहुत जवाब दे चुके हैं। जस्ट 1 minute ओनली आई टेक। ये जो आपका प्राइसिंग है, दिस इज अ फ्रॉड बिकॉज यू आर डूइंग करप्शन इन योर ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनीज एंड ऑल मार्केटिंग कंपनीज, द मनी इज siphoned to the top right up to the ministry, and this is the one cause for your keeping this artificially high petrol pricing. You are doing mixing with the kerosene and you are selling it at that same price. Your pumps are making money on the account of that.
We have to wrap up this. We have to wrap up this discussion. It comes down to the same thing, that in India we are currently paying above 70 rupees for 1 litre of petrol. It is a price, viewers, that is completely unjustified for a commodity that doesn't cost more than 30 rupees after dealer commissions. Where is the rest of the money going? The government of India needs to first of all justify to us as customers and as citizens why it is charging us this completely unjustified amount in tax after we have paid income tax, service tax, VAT, Krishi Kalyan, education cess and Swachh Bharat cess. Why are you still charging us this much money? If you insist that the urban middle class is your only method of making money, that you still haven't figured out how to bring the rest of the country under the tax net, you still haven't figured out how to make sure that there are no other people taking money away from the country without paying taxes, you still haven't figured out who holds those Swiss bank accounts and how to bring that money back. If I am still the only way you can make money, you've completely run out of ideas, then please give me an account of that money. The budget document, which I have tracked for over 15 years, Mr. Goenka, is not good enough The budget document only lists where the money has come in from and where it will be allocated to. How many roads you actually built, how many children you actually fed, how many hospital beds were actually created is not in the budget document. I demand that document. Give me that document. Then we will sit across a table and talk. Until then, your answers are simply not good enough. Thanks for watching.